Hey kids, get in my van.
It's time for comics.
La la la. La la la. Just wanted to make sure. Hello and welcome to this edition of the Comic Book Van. I am the driver, the comic book man, Angel Hernandez. And with me, as usual, is Stephanie.
Did you forget your name?
No, I was trying to come up with more, nicknames. I was trying to, the Sultan of SWAT, the King of Swing.
Well, it just came out that you forgot your name.
I really blew that part. That's okay. I'll just leave that long, awkward, silent pause in there. Let's jump right into things. We were at Barnes & Noble the other day, right? And we picked up a remarkable book. That was Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley, the creator of Scott Pilgrim. And we read ourselves a little free preview there in the store. Maybe about 15 pages at tops.
I don't even know if we did that many.
Maybe not even that many, but fell in love with the book right away, right?
Yes, I really wanted that book.
Oh, man. It's a $25 price tag, but it's literally about a 200 and something page book, which is about the standard for a trade paperback these days. And honestly, it looked like a pretty fun story. Brian Lee O'Malley is advancing as an artist, advancing as a storyteller. This is definitely a lot more mature than Scott Pilgrim. So we're going to have to pick that up. We're going to have to pool our pennies together, cash some cans in for some scratch.
Count my change.
And get ourselves that book so that we can talk about that in depth. But as far as I can tell, it's about a girl who's working at a restaurant called Seconds. And most of the people she befriended there went away, so she's trying to start a new life, it seems like.
Yeah, start a new restaurant because she doesn't like the hipster kids that now work at her restaurant.
Oh, that's right. See? That's what's good I have you here, because you remember details and stuff that I would never think too much about. There's a couple other original graphic novels coming out. We have a Thanos one that came out this week called The Infinity Revelation. And it's kind of funny. It's timed with Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which we are going to talk about later on.
Yay!
Who's your favorite character from Guardians of the Galaxy?
I am Groot.
I'm stuck between Rocket Raccoon and Drax. Honestly, but I like all of them. There's some interesting things about the characters in that movie too. But anyways, there's the Thanos trade paperback that came out this week. It's an original graphic novel, which means that the artists and the writers worked on it all together, finished it all, and put it out as that one book. So this one's also got a price tag of about $20. It's all about Thanos, and a space adventure. It's probably about 150 pages or so. I didn't check the exact count. But the kicker is, Jim Starlin, the guy who created Thanos, is the artist and the writer on the book. So you get to see a vision of him from the guy who started it, which was back in the 80s.
Wow.
Excited for that. There's another Adventure Time original graphic novel. I didn't get to see much of it, but Princess Bubblegum is on the cover, and she's in an armor with a sword. It looks really cool. All right, let me pose you a serious question.
All right.
Have you ever found a cartoon character to be attractive? Or
yes.
Found yourself somewhat attracted to a cartoon character?
Yes.
Who would that be, if you don't mind saying?
Let's see, who's my first one? The one that immediately comes to mind, I don't know if you ever saw it, but there was Treasure Planet.
I didn't see that one, actually.
The Jim. I did like Jim.
I will look up that later on, though.
But basically anybody kind of weird and nerdy. I mean, I was a lot younger, so it was more like a crush, and I guess attracted to in that kind of sense. But who was the other one? There was another one. The guy in Atlantis.
Weird ones, really weird ones. Was he blonde with the glasses?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I liked all the really weird ones when I was younger. You also, I also thought it was funny. I read an article once. Remember Rick Moranis?
Yeah.
I liked
that
him.
Guy?
I liked him a lot too when I was younger. I read a whole article on the internet where it was girl's first nerdy crush, and it was all about Rick Moranis. I was I wasn't.
I could almost see that one though.
I mean, it was less in Ghostbusters when I saw him in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay,
I liked him a lot in that one.
I did like that movie a lot too, actually. Nobody's ever knows who the fuck the girls are that I like, or the ones that I find attractive. It's pretty strange. But the oddest one I've realized lately is that whenever I see Princess Bubblegum
You like Princess Bubblegum?
She looked pretty sexy in that armor on the original graphic novel cover. I'll show you that later on. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah,
I liked the weird people as well. I think there were others out there. But not like the classic ones. We're like, oh, look at Prince Charming. I was like, let me get the nerdy guy.
I think her name was Genevieve Pearson from the first season of King of the Nerds. She knew so much about everything, including comic books and Batman. It was amazing.
You're like, marry me.
I got a restraining order. I can't ask anymore because I got a restraining order, but those were a good couple of months with the letters and the phone calls and stalking in the bushes. Anyway, so let's see what else is going on here. There is a rumor that there's going to be a female-led movie in 2017 coming out of Sony, spinning off from the Spider-Man movie series. We got either Spider-Woman or the Black Cat. Are you familiar with either?
No, not at all.
The Black Cat received a version of the serum that was injected into Steve Rogers that made him into Captain America, but it was not as powerful. And the reason she calls herself the Black Cat is because she took her father's name. Her father was a thief, a famous thief before she was. So she took over the mantle. As far as I know, she took over the mantle, called herself the Black Cat, got the serum, so she turned from like a office girl into like a super strong girl. And she had like a fling with Peter Parker. And since Gwen Stacy's dead, a lot of sexy things could be going on if they introduce her.
They have a mutant kid?
Well, I don't know. The thing is that in the comic books, her fascination with Peter Parker, actually not Peter Parker, with Spider-Man, was that they were both masked criminals. But he tried to reveal himself to her once, and she looked away, and she was like, yeah, I'm not into that. More or less.
I'm not into the real you.
She liked the danger. Now, here's the problems I could see. One, Spider-Woman, nobody knows who the fuck she is. Like, I've bought a lot of comic book covers because of that sexy, sexy costume that she's in that are garbage. Because I opened the book and I'm just like, this story sucks. But she's confused me into thinking that I could buy a book with her on the cover. That'd be good.
So she might confuse you to go see a movie.
She might. If she's in that same costume in the comics.
But then you'll just complain to me about how awful the movie was.
I probably will. And then the Black Cat, I would say, I think that's feasible. That's actually been that's a cosplayer's favorite, I think. I've noticed a lot of girls like being the Black Cat from Spider-Man. Sometimes I don't even know if they know who the fuck she is. But the costume itself is just like, it's visually...
It's like, I want that one.
Yeah. Speaking of movies that will suck, or that might suck, or have a problem, I want to talk real quick about this month's... One of the nominees this month for the Viscardi of the month. For those who don't remember James Viscardi, he is the asshole who got the podcast pulled down the first time that I tried to put it up. I softballed the guy for the first time. I remember I was trying to be very dainty, and I was a little afraid because I didn't want to get my podcast pulled down again. But fuck that guy. What a piece of shit. I just want to throw that out there. That's why this award is called the Viscardi of the Month. Now, we went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of what we're going to talk about is based around that. But we saw a preview for a Marvel superhero movie coming out from Pixar called Big Hero 6. Now, it has a cute character in it as well.
I love it.
I know, you like Baymax.
He's cute.
I gotta say that they did a good job with the Baymax aspect, and I was okay because I saw the little boy, and the little boy looked like what you called Pixar's version of an Asian kid.
Yeah, you could tell that a little bit.
A white kid with black hair.
What is he supposed to be? Yellow? They're white as well.
No, oh my god. I should edit that out. That's really bad. No, actually, we could cover that real quick. That's what they used to do. Like, in the 40s, when they were making comic books that were anti-Nazi, anti-Japan propaganda books.
Oh, yeah, they them very stereotypical.
Colored them very, very yellow. They gave them, like, snake-like tongues and fangs and stuff like that. A lot of racial slurs. So we're removed from that. We're not putting that in our comics anymore, but we are doing something worse. We're taking characters from an all-Japanese team and making them white. As far as I can tell, everybody in that movie, but that little boy, is white.
It was a quick preview.
It was a quick preview, but they showed most of the people in the car when the car was turning. If that's not the team, if that's not Big Hero 6, then what the fuck? Why aren't they in the trailer at all? People, they don't know what they're advertising to people. If they're saying it's Big Hero 6, Big Hero 6 is not the little kid, and it's not Baymax. It's the whole team. And from what I know, they're an Asian-centric, particularly Japanese-centric team. So Pixar, and this apparently doesn't have anything to do with Marvel. Pixar is the asshole at the head of this. They are the golden ass nominee for this month. The James with a Scardy face, I'll call it. Yeah, I'm just a little disappointed. I don't know how I'm going to feel. I mean, I'll wait for more to be released, but right now, it kind of bummed me out a little because an otherwise enjoyable trailer was just kind of tainted by that. That brings me up to our discussion topic of the day. Marvel versus DC Comics. The films versus the comic books themselves. Now, so far from what you read a little bit of Marvel, you read a little bit of DC. What do you think you prefer? This is a hot topic back in the day. It's not, still ongoing, but some people are either say I'm a Marvel guy or I'm a DC guy. If you had to say so right now, so far, are you a Marvel guy, Marvel gal, DC gal?
Well, I've always liked Batman. He's always been my favorite. But besides him, there's not too many other people in that universe that I like as much. I've never really been into the Flash or Green Lantern.
Oh, but the Flash is so cool.
Though Wonder Woman is really cool.
Wonder Woman is another good one. Green Lantern, we've seen really crappy versions of him, I guess.
Marvel has,
Guardians. But we haven't really read any Guardians comics, just Rocket Raccoon #1.
Yeah, I mean, that one's pretty good.
We read Nightcrawler. We've been reading Nightcrawler.
Oh, but they do have X-Men.
Yes.
That's a hard choice. Do I choose Batman and
Okay.
Wonder Woman
Maybe
or
this way,
X-Men?
in the comic books so far, just with the paper in your hands, what have you read more quality from?
Marvel.
Marvel?
Yeah, I've only read a couple of the Batman comics.
Well, okay.
Well, the thing is, if I was to choose which comic book thing I like more, I don't know if I'd choose either Marvel or DC.
You'd probably say Image Comics, huh?
Yeah, I like the artwork and that better in the storylines. I mean, I like the other two as, like, they produce characters that I know, but I don't think they're ever going to come up with a story where I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. They follow like movies do. They follow a very strict storyline.
We did read one today that was pretty good. We read Miss Marvel.
Yes, that was actually a very different comic book for something coming out of something that I guess would be considered very mainstream.
They're trying really hard. Here's my general feeling on them. If I'm just looking at the two big two, for some reason DC Comics puts out really great comic books. I love the story. For me personally, they're very fulfilling stories with characters that I'm not all that familiar with. In Marvel Comics, stories and characters I'm very familiar with that are not being portrayed very well in the comic books. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing, the fucked up thing, is that in the movies, it's the complete opposite. The Marvel comic movies have all been spot on so far.
Yeah.
Every recent one, since the Iron Man 1, even the Incredible Hulk, and everything that came from then on, perfect. Everything that came out of Marvel Studios. But comic book wise, I'm just wondering why there's that disparity between them. Why can DC do so many different things that Marvel isn't or can't do? Like, okay, recently we got Captain America's turned into the Falcon, and Thor has turned into a woman. I think that this is their attempt. I think it's more like an attempt. Like, look, we're trying to catch up. See how we're doing things different?
I think it's probably because Marvel has characters that might be a little bit more known. I mean, Iron Man probably wasn't until the movie came out.
He was not cared about half as much
until that movie came out, but they have a lot more known characters, I would think, than DC does. I mean, everybody does know, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, and the Green Lantern. They know them, but I don't think they were ever as popular, maybe besides Batman, as anything that came out of Marvel. Right. I think Marvel movies translate very well as a public, while DC might have better stories, maybe because they have a better loyal fan base that they want to give something quality to.
That makes sense. I think historically that's the way everybody's always felt with them. They've always felt like Marvel is the Flash company. Like, look at pretty pictures, wow, boom, bang, cool, look at that guy got shot in the head. That kind of storyline stuff. Like what's going on with the Original Sin book. I know you haven't read that one yet. I read Original Sin. And there's like a shot where the Watcher gets shot in the head and his eyeballs are missing, and I'm just like, it seems like it to be in poor taste. It's flashy. It was on a big double-page spread. I didn't care for it. It didn't make me feel good. It didn't make me feel like I would enjoy continuing reading that comic book. Whereas I would see something similar in DC, a similar kind of brutal death, but it fits well in the context of the story.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're going to vote for a third option, basically. Though you're an Image person. You're an Image
But
gal.
if I had to choose between the two, I'd probably pick Marvel.
Marvel?
So far.
Oh,
what
right
I've
on.
read.
We're also at odds on this. I would definitely say DC Comics, though. But,
I haven't read that many. So.
We'll keep reading more. I did have a conversation with a fellow at Frankincense about the same thing. He's a Marvel guy, but he told me immediately he feels like there's not that many good books on the Marvel rack. Now, I'm starting to feel differently because of Miss Marvel and in Nightcrawler. We've been enjoying those very much. And Rocket Raccoon and the Guardian stuff, obviously, they got their hottest artists and writers on those books right now. Okay. So let's go into our comic book reviews for the day. Let's just try to get through these quickly. We read Wonder Woman number 33. So what did you think of this story?
I wish I knew what was going on more.
Yeah, unfortunately, number 33 is not the best place to start. Wonder Woman is being tempted by some sort of evil, skeletal-looking man from underneath the earth, and meanwhile, there's all-out war raging on the top side of Earth. She's like in the center. She's in some mythical realm, and she's looking out at a war that's going on. Okay, let's say you had to rate this book, Lynn, and how much you enjoyed it. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5.
1 to 5?
Yeah. Because I think 1 to 10 is too much long. And it's either like you really, really liked it or you didn't like it very much, and then it's like you're okay with it, and number 3, you know what I mean?
I'm okay with it probably just because I didn't know what was going on, but if I knew what was going on, I'd probably give it more.
So 3 out of 5. Okay. I gave it a 4. I liked it. I didn't need to know every single thing that was going on.
But you know me, I can't start at something that's not 1.
It's always got to be number 1. Episode number 1. Issue number 1. Alright. Let's go on to the next one. Miss Marvel. 5 out of 5 for me. We read Miss Marvel number 1 from Marvel Comics. It's about the Indian girl who inherited, apparently, the powers of Captain Marvel. And it's kind of like a stereotype-breaking book.
It's very good. I would give it a 5 as well.
I will say this much. There are 2 characters that are kind of the foibles in the book. The overtly white girl and super jock white boyfriend. I feel like it's funny. They're breaking down these barriers with the Indian characters. Meanwhile, they're creating stereotypes of white people, like on the opposite side of the coin, on the same page. I just realized that as I said that. 4.5 out of 5. I feel like that's kind of wrong. I hope they make them better characters because they're kind of awful people in this book. But it's a really great book. Like, we had fun. We read it out loud like we were planning to do with the podcast. And we just had a lot of fun with the voices, and the dialogue was really great. And
the story was really good.
The story was exceptional. I gotta say that Marvel Comics, again, I spoke about it a little bit, but I only read like 10 pages or less at a time. And I'm so grateful they made this book. So, pick up Miss Marvel if you're... And anybody... I think anybody would enjoy this book. We might even do a reading of this book.
I want to get the second one tomorrow.
We will go after this. We'll go after the rest of them. Maybe we can find some in the quarter.
I claim all of
Maybe we can find some in the
own.
quarter bin. All right, we read Nightcrawler number 4, and this one capped off the 4-issue story arc. Nightcrawler and his girlfriend Amanda were battling these robot things called the Trimegas. They were magically enforced. All of the X-Men were, so this was like an issue-long fight scene as well. At the end of it, very sad ending, his girlfriend was sacrificed to end the battle.
I thought she just got sucked in and he told her to come get her.
It seemed like it was heaven, so like it seemed like she died.
I thought she got sucked into another... Well, she said it was heaven.
Yeah,
but I thought she told him to come get her.
Maybe the story will follow him come getting her. This is an okay book. I mean, I think I like it mostly because it's in the X-Men realm, and I would never deny those books. So for me, this one was a 3 out of 5, maybe closer to a 4, but still enjoyable. I liked it. I would never give a X-Men book a bad review unless it was really bad.
Really, really bad.
How about yourself? What's your rating?
Probably a 4 since Nightcrawler is my favorite.
Alrighty. And then finally, we read Ragnarok. This was put out by IDW, and it was done by legendary comic book artist Walt Simonson, best known for his work on Thor and Marvel Comics back in the 80s, I want to say, maybe even late 70s. maybe even sooner. Walt Simonson and his wife, they're actually both professional. She's a writer, he's a writer and a comic book artist. They're still together. They have a long relationship. They're very old and gray now, and they enjoy working with each other. I don't think they didn't work together on this book, but they advise each other, and they're obviously in the same same life together. So I think I enjoyed this more thinking about that, thinking about a husband and wife who've made it through the years and working together in the same profession. And it's great to see Walter Simonson back on a book. How did you like Ragnarok? It is a story about Thor and apparently some elves, assassins.
Well, there was no Thor in it so far.
He died.
Oh, that was him in the
That was him with the hammer throwing it through the dragon's head. Spoilers.
Well, I thought he would have survived that.
His hammer was on a wall for forever. I think it would have returned to him if he had been alive still. Yeah. I give this one a 5 out of 5 as well. Very high rating. It was a really well done book. Very interesting art style.
I give the art a 5 and the story a 4.
Okay, fair enough. It's because they have the stay-at-home elf dad, isn't it? Go do the work, honey. I'll be here with the kids.
I'm gonna go assassinate people. You stay with the kids.
I didn't think to break it up between the art and the story. Art was definitely a 5 out of 5. Story, yeah, I might side with you on that one. But it's not advanced enough. There's 22 pages in the story, maybe 21 pages tops. So when we get issue number 2, we'll be able to kind of get a better feeling of where it's going.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's it for the comic books this week. And finally, we are going to give the Guardians of the Galaxy review.
Woohoo!
It's 1 week after seeing the movie.
Opening weekend.
And I enjoy this movie a lot.
It was much better than I thought it was going to be.
In my opinion, it is probably the most perfect comic book adaptation in existence. Anything that was changed for the sake of the movie was changed because it was the best possible choice. For instance, there was a couple of things like Drax. In the comic books, he was a human being who was experimented on and created to kill Thanos. In this universe, he came from a people who didn't understand... Oh, and also the experimentation made him very strong in the comic books, but it took away his intelligence. And the way they explain it in the movie is that he comes from a people who don't get sarcasm, who don't get, anything that is not a literal context.
So if you haven't seen this movie, don't listen to this part.
By the way, yes, I meant to say, epic spoilers from here on out. That's why I put this at the end, so we're going to talk about it right now. And if you've been listening... Now's the time to listen. Go watch the movie, come back, and then listen to us talk about it.
Even though he just spoiled a good part of it right now.
Oh, there's a lot of good parts about it. Here's something about the characters I never thought about. All of them seem to have different social disorders. Something wrong with them. But the great thing about it is that, they don't portray it as being, such a weakness that, they have to overcome it and be better at the end of the movie. Everything's solved. I'm not a social... movies where you have, a loser. And at the end of it, what happens is he gets his balls... And he's now he's all confident and cool and outgoing. But you know what? When you're not a social person, that never happens for you. You never go out there and just start talking to girls or start talking to guys and talking to everybody and being popular. That's bullshit. They used to do that in movies all the fucking time. And whenever you see those kind of tropes, it's really annoying. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Drax. When I think of Drax, I think he's almost autistic. he's somewhere on the autism sphere. You think about it, as his alien race, his whole race would obviously be where my favorite part is with him is when he's that went over your head, and he's like, nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
Oh, that whole scene right there. There's a whole bunch of jokes right there. That was all funny.
It was great.
I think this was probably the most I laughed in one. I mean, I think probably the first time I saw Iron Man, that one was pretty funny, but the thing is, I think the jokes in this one were just more in my line of humor.
Oh, it was actually hilarious. There was no, meeting them halfway. They made you laugh. You heard what was the jokes were, and you just start laughing your ass off.
Yes. Probably more innuendos in this one, too. This one was,
heck yeah.
They were, very pushing the border of, acceptable for children to make it into this movie.
When Star-Lord is hitting on Gamora, and she's like... You and your crotch sorcery is not going to work on me. She said something along those lines, right?
I thought she was talking about the headphones.
She was talking about the headphones, but he tried to kiss her, and she called it something like his pelvis sorcery or something like that.
Alright, now we need to go watch that again. I don't think that was the word.
We need to watch that again. The smartest thing you said all night. Rocket Raccoon has a problem dealing with his feelings. He doesn't like... First of all, he has issues with his identity. He doesn't like people calling him small or calling him rodent. He takes a big issue with that. He's a great character, though, because you could see that he has a great heart. Like, that shows throughout everything he does. I mean, of course, yeah, it's a lot of funny stuff.
Very brash and sarcastic.
He's very brash and sarcastic, and that's because he has trouble dealing with his feelings. Okay, Drax and Rocket Raccoon. This is why Drax was one of my favorites. Because they're drinking the liquid, they're drinking and gambling inside of the place.
Oh, and Drax is just like, let's play more of this game.
And let's put more of this liquid in our stomachs. And afterwards, when they're fighting outside, they're having like a total drunk person argument. Drax is like, he speaks of things he knows nothing about.
That was funny.
And that was where you see Rocket Raccoon being sensitive too. He's like, he called me a vermin. Oh my gosh, man, that was a great. Man, that's great. And let's talk about Groot. Talking about Groot now. Groot, the cutest, most endearing.
I loved him
character.
so much. I think still one of my favorite parts. Well, actually, I probably haven't seen he was in.
Let's go through them.
But I like the first part we see him. We're in the future like city, and Rocket Raccoon is like being judgmental about people, and they pan back to him, and you see Groot just drinking out of a fountain. Like a little, like a water fountain, there's just a spout, and he's just like, nah.
Stop that.
And then it pans back, and he's continuing to do it. He's just living it up. He's so happy. He's got the cutest expression ever. Like, if that is Vin Diesel's face, he's got the cutest face ever.
I have to admit, this has made me see Vin Diesel in a different light. I know, obviously, he's the guy doing the green screen. He's the one moving it around, and probably is following his face. It looks like his face, just a little bit.
Well, yeah, they do the dots and all that. Yeah. It's his face.
So, man, what can I say? It's the most wonderful movie made this year. By far, out of every movie, any movie I've seen this whole year, not even superhero movies, this is the best one.
Also, the best one was when, What's-His-Face fought off the main villain, and then he's like, oh, they killed my family and my child, and Rocket Raccoon, and at the end...
Oh, yes, Rocket Raccoon's like, yeah, big deal. Everybody has death. Everybody deals with stuff. And then you see Groot's reaction in the background. He goes,
well, no, it's like they kill. Well, he's being sarcastic and he's making fun of
Drax.
Yeah, he's making fun of Drax. He's like, oh yes, my family and my wife have died, and then
yeah, he's like boo hoo, and he covers his mouth and he gasps. See, that's another perfect example of great character development. Though Groot is very emotionally deep. Like you don't understand it because
Groot is just my favorite.
He can't express it in words. He expresses it with his actions.
Yes.
His smile.
Just a little
you remember
thing
when
that
he smiled?
And he pulled the thing out. Yeah.
Where he beats up those guys.
Oh, outside in the tunnel, and then he turns around. He's like, "Look what I did!"
did good. Yes.
All right. I love it.
I saw some people didn't understand at the end where he protects all of them and he says, "We are Groot." Do you know what he meant by that? Or do you have an inkling of what he meant by that?
We are Groot.
To set the scene, Rocket Raccoon is telling Groot, like, you don't have to do this. Why are you doing this? You're going to die because they're falling in a spaceship, and Groot encapsulates them in his body, basically. He grows limbs and trees all around them that are essentially him. Rocket tells him, you don't have to do this. And Groot says, we are Groot.
Well, isn't he in a sense just showing his friendship? Like, I will die for you. They did have that scene where, like, let's band together. We're going to go die together.
It is that, but it's even deeper than that. He's, like, telling him, you are what makes me worth being alive. Like, all of you make up me. You're all my friends. You're my, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So, essentially, he's saying, like, he understands that it's not just him that's important, but there's people that are an extension of him as well. Groot is like the greatest character in the comic book movie.
I want a Groot plushie with that little smile. Maybe a poster.
I was thinking
I would look at
of getting a
poster
potted plant and making like a paper mache or like some kind of like little figure, sculpting a figurine of baby Groot.
Oh my goodness! I want it.
Yes, we are just clamoring for more Groot, and I'm so happy. They already greenlit a sequel. Before the movie came out, they greenlit a sequel, and you know what? They were
I don't
right.
think they're crazy.
Don't doubt them.
I thought they were crazy.
Yes, don't doubt them, people. I, for one, welcome our new overlords at Marvel.
They probably did test screenings and it did so well. They're like, of course you're going to make one.
If anybody with a brain can watch that movie and just be like, touched by it, how could you not? How could you not see how awesome it is? More Guardians, please, by the barrelful. So, I think that was our review. There was a lot of nerdy, not nerdy, how can I put it? Throwback characters. Well, not even throwback characters. This way.
You know what I hated about it?
What?
That stupid green lady.
Gamora?
I guess this is a whole other topic in itself, but they never portray the women all that interesting.
Gamora?
They're always like, let's look sexy the whole time.
That was not the goal of Gamora. She was not dressed scantily.
But it's just the way that it seemed to come off.
Let me break it.
It was like I'm an important character as well.
Let me break it down to you, sister. This is Gamora. Thanos manipulated her, killed her family in front of her. So all of her issues that she has with trusting people stem from the fact that she's been abused by people. That's why she didn't let herself get close to Star-Lord. She is a complex character as well. And then by the end of the movie, Gamora is not a bad character. Up. She's the daughter of Thanos. She's there to stay. She's a love interest for Star-Lord. But she's more than that. She's a powerful woman. She's a strong woman. She can kick ass, and she does through most of the fucking movie. There's not a point where she's portrayed as useless. She's willing to lay it down just as much as any other member. The whole team's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Just to recap, remember when Drax is like, this dumb tree is my friend. And this green whore is also my friend.
That was hilarious. Okay, that was funny.
It was funny that they let him call her that. They let so many...
They were like barely letting children into this movie.
Right. They let a lot of cuss words slide. But that is what tells us that Deadpool would work as a PG-13 movie. I mean, first he has to be able to cuss. Second, he has to be able to kill. But they killed a lot of people in this movie off with that.
We're just gonna get crazy parents saying we're polluting the minds of the children,
They've been saying that for decades. They've been saying that about everything. They used to talk about the Beatles and Elvis Presley.
I know, but that's just all it's gonna be talking about. If that is the case, that's all it's gonna be to talk about for months, and I'm just gonna get tired of it again.
He's been around for a while, and most parents aren't very good these days. They don't pay attention to what their kids do, anyways. In either case, Deadpool movie, please have that next. Have it ready for me. I want it with all 20 comic book movies.
Serve it on a silver platter.
All 20 comic book movies slated to come out in the next 6 years. Add that to the bunch. So overall, how would you rate the Guardians of the Galaxy movie? 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up? 2 thumbs up, 4 stars.
Definitely.
10 out of 10 rating, 5 out of 5, whatever you need to go see this movie and continue to support this so that the next one gets cranked out of the machine as soon as they can.
You should go see it. At the end of the first week of school after I've died. I want
to go see it again. That will lift up my spirits. And occasionally I can just watch the movie Guardians of the Galaxy.
You're breaking it up into chunks. So
I can do that too. I'll just take 30 minutes and that'll be enough to keep me going for a week. Also, that thing broke $115 million on its first week. And the movie only cost $175 to make.
Those people better have signed good contracts to get some of this.
They're mostly, Chris Pratt was known. They're actually all known people, but not in high demand. So I'm sure they got a good amount of money, but not that much money.
They're gonna get a lot of
the next movie,
now Chris Pratt is in high demand.
They'll probably get some back ends. And also Chris Pratt laying it down for the Chubby Brothers, giving us all hope that we can get into shape.
Oh, is that really a real picture of him on the beach?
Yes.
I meant to look into that. I'm like, did they just make...
He was pretty fat before, and he's phenomenal looking in this movie. There was characters in there from the Marvel Universe you'd recognize if you watched or read the Infinity Gauntlet books or any of the Infinity stories, Infinity War, and so on and so forth. All of the Marvel Comics space opera stuff. They had Ronan the Accuser as the main enemy. The other daughter of Thanos, the bald alien-looking chick, I forgot her name.
The one with the black eye?
Yeah. I wanted to say it was Nebula.
Something like that. They probably only said her name like twice.
The Collector was in there, and then we stood for the little scene afterwards. Spoilers.
That was the worst ending scene ever.
That's Marvel.
They usually pick up like a little bit of the story or make some funny joke. I didn't.
Marvel, well, you didn't get the joke because you don't know who the hell Howard the Duck is. And again, that's for the hardcore fans out there. Like Ronan the Accuser, nobody knew who the fuck he was until he was in this movie. Like the Collector, nobody knew who he was.
The only reason I know that these people are actual things is that when I'm sitting next to you go... I'm like, who is that now?
Yeah.
Happened during the X-Men movie all the time, and then you practically flipped out on that ending scene. I'm just like, what?
Because it was the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
I know, but you were flipping out. I'm just like...
I've never seen them. Also, a good idea for you, cosplay the Scarlet Witch.
A demented-looking chick?
Yeah. That'd be a great one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that about wraps it up for this week. I think I'm very proud, I should say, of both of us, because we're a lot better at this than we were 4 podcasts ago. This was a lot more fluid.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun, too. Pretty soon we got school coming up, so it's going to be
Why do I want to do things with my life?
The last week of August, there's going to be a gap. We're not going to do a podcast that week. We're going to take a break. We're going to get ourselves situated in the school, and we will return the first week of September, at the end of the first week of September.
Yeah, I think we have that Monday off.
We have a lot of comic books to still catch up and read on. This is our first time actually talking almost purely about comic books, not fucking Justin Bieber or Emma Stone or some shit.
How dare you bring his name into this?
I was just thinking about some bullshit-ass celebrity that I could throw out there. We really only talked about Emma Stone.
We talked about Lord of the Rings a lot last time.
Oh, that was a good conversation, too. There needs to be Lord of the Rings comic books. Well, that wraps it up. Guardians of the Galaxy, go see the fucking movie. It is amazing. It will be the best experience in a theater you had this year by far. Thanks for hanging out in the comic book van today. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. When I was young, I passed by my old school. Most kids, they stayed inside. I acted like a fool. I didn't learn much except how to stay away. Whenever things went wrong, I looked